When things feel a bit bad and a bit scary, who do you turn to for help? Maybe your parents, your friends, maybe even your teacher. Well, those people are all fine people to turn to, but we also know that we can turn to God and He'll protect us and care for us as well. Those fences over there in the distance, do you know what's behind them? Lions. Big lions with scary teeth and loud roars. If you go round the zoo sometimes, you go and have a look at them and they're all just lying around and they don't look particularly scary. But if they were feeling a bit hungry and you climbed into the cage, do you think they'd stay lying down? I don't. I think they'd take one look at you and they'd think, lunch. It's kind of like what happened to Daniel in the Bible. Do you remember? Daniel, he was a faithful man. He trusted in God. He prayed to Him 3 times a day. And the king, he loved Daniel. He made Daniel an important man. He put him in charge of lots of people and getting things done. But some of those people that Daniel was in charge of, they were a bit jealous of him. They knew that the king loved Daniel, but they also knew that the king was quite vain. He loved himself quite a lot. So they tricked the king into making a law that all the people in the land, for 30 days, they could only pray to the king and no one else. The bad men knew that Daniel wouldn't obey this law, and sure enough, he continued to pray to God. When these wicked men told the king was really sad, but now he had no choice, it was the law. So Daniel was arrested and he was thrown in the lion's den, where the hungry lions waited for him. Daniel's crime was simply to obey God. But in doing so, he'd got himself in a world of trouble. But Daniel knew that. He knew that's what was going to happen. But he knew too that it was more important to pray to God. The king, he was really sad. He had a terrible night, tossing and turning. He just couldn't sleep. He was so worried about what was happening to Daniel. But don't feel too sorry for him, because remember, whilst he's had a terrible night, he's had that terrible night in his comfy bed, in his palace, surrounded by all his spangly wealth, whilst Daniel is still in the den with the hungry lions. Now, the next morning, as soon as the sun rose, the king ran down to the den. So desperate was he to find out what had happened to Daniel. He called out to Daniel and waited desperately to hear the answer. Daniel! Sure enough, Daniel did answer, and the king was overjoyed. God had sent an angel to look over Daniel, to protect him and to close the mouths of the lions. And so he was safe. But maybe, you might be asking, maybe the lions just weren't hungry. Well, I'm not sure that's the case. Because the king, he was so angry with the men that had tricked him that he had them arrested and they were thrown in the lion's den instead. And, well, the lions did what lions do. Let's just say they weren't very hungry for long. Right, I want to do a little demonstration for you, all about how God can protect us, using the example of Daniel in the lion's den. See, we have our den here, and inside, handily, we already have our Daniel, waiting, but there's no lion. The lion is here. Really, really well drawn and really scary. Very supportive, aren't you? Right, we're going to scrunch our lion up into a little ball, and then we're going to put our lion on the edge of the den. Then I'm going to give this straw to Amelia, and she is going to blow through the straw and blow the lion, when I say go, into the lion's den so it can leap on Daniel and gobble him up in one go. Are you ready, Amelia? Are you going to blow as hard as you can? As hard as you can. Yeah? Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, blow! Emmy, I said blow. You were supposed to blow it in, not suck it out. Did you blow? Did you? Well, that didn't work. Do you want to have a go? See if you can do it. A bit stronger, bit of a stronger blow. Okay, Will. Right, when you're ready, as hard as you can. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3. Did you blow? What's happening? I'll tell you, God, if you want a job doing, you've got to do it yourself. I don't know. Right, let's try one more time. I'm going to do it this time, and I'm going to blow it all the way in. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow. I guess God really is protecting Daniel. That's impressive. So there we have it. God is a great protector. He can even close the mouths of hungry lions. But it's important also to remember that just because God can protect us doesn't always mean that he will. Sometimes there are challenges he gives us that can feel really hard, horrible in fact, whilst we're going through them. But later on we can look back at them and realise that actually God was just trying to teach us something. Even with Daniel, the easiest way for God to protect Daniel was to not let him be thrown in the lion's den in the first place. Just think about how scared and worried Daniel would have been. But what's important here is that when it came to it, when Daniel was face to face with the lions, God did protect him. Why don't you ask your parents to read through the story with you this afternoon? It's in the book of Daniel, chapter 6. For the verse to learn today, I'm going to use verse 27 of that chapter. And it says, "He delivers and rescues. He works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He who saved Daniel from the power of the lions." Daniel chapter 6, verse 27. So that verse, it teaches us that he, God, has the power to rescue us, even from hungry lions.